welcome back director Adam Rifkin, producer Mike Bland.
Thank you so much for watching the whole thing. We, real quickly, Adam shot all this by himself with a camera, Giuseppe style, and then he gave me 26 hours of tape because he had to do some other stuff. I half-assed a rough cut, and then thank God for this man. Please welcome editor David Nordstrom, who made this film really good. And then we'd also like to bring up, we're lucky enough to have the great actor Miles Dougal here in the crowd.
So what we'll do, we'll grab some questions from you guys. I'm going to start off though, because one of the things about this film that strikes me is it's such a great portrait of just collaboration, of people wanting to come together and make something. And can you guys talk about it, Miles, you too? You know, it's one thing to collaborate on a fiction film and you're playing a character and it's all make-believe. It's another thing to collaborate on a documentary where suddenly it's, you know, your real life. What did you know, like, what was that process like when you were gaining these guys' trust? What was it like for you to actually have to just be yourself?
You want to start?
Sure. Well, it's true. We were making 2 movies at once, so that's complex and cubistic. And you know, when you make a documentary, the question is, you know, what is real, or are you really being yourself when you know there's a camera, and in this case 2 and 3 in your face. So it certainly was a heightened self that I was projecting, and this world, as we saw, is somewhat of an electric world. I mean, there's a hyperspace element to this. And by the way, as I said last time we did a Q&A, I lived in this strange universe, Exhibit A, ladies and gentlemen, members of the court. I lived in this strange universe for 2.5 years. And after watching this movie the other night, it transported me back to that place. And as you can tell, there's a little sugarcoating here. It's not always the best, most coziest place in the universe. So there you have it.
Well, I was starting to say before the movie that when Giuseppe would tell me these stories about how these movies got made and the people that he was working with, and he would come over and show them to me. First of all, the stories were so bizarre and the movies were so wacko. Yet it's so funny all the time and so creative. I was just fascinated by them, and I just loved the fact that he was cranking these things out, and I just thought they were amazing. But what I was really touched by was the fact that he had assembled this family, this sort of, I say this sort of island of misfit toys family, because if you were walking down the street and Vietnam Ron was walking toward you, you would walk to the other side of the street. I mean, the guy's freaky looking, you know, he's scary. But Giuseppe didn't see these people this way. Giuseppe saw them as friends, as collaborators, as artists, and these people are not taken seriously in any other aspect of their lives. They're homeless people. And he treated them like movie stars. And he made them into movie stars in his world. And I found that to be really, really touching. And I really wanted to make sure I could capture that. That, to me, was why I wanted to make this movie.
I'm sorry, what was the question? What is general?
Well, when you had all this footage handed to you, when you talked to these guys about this, did you, I mean, as the editor, did you go out there, or did you just kind of rely on what you had? Did you ever go to the trailer park?
Well, I had kind of a unique position because I kind of only got to know Giuseppe through watching his movies and learning about him, mostly through Mike. But at the same time, I think he seemed, I don't know, it felt like I knew him. I knew friends who were like him in their own weird way. And I think the hardest part, apart from trying to find a part where Guiseppe takes a breath enough to find an edit point, which are few and far between. And he kind of dictated the rhythm of the film. It was more a matter of trying to figure out how to present this to like a general audience. I know, to my mind, he was coming from a universe that was like, very punk rock, where the art world kind of like shades into, Bohemia and the homeless communities, the drug addicted communities, and I felt like I understood that coming where I had come from, and for me, I think I was thinking a lot of my mother, who I know if she met these people in the right way, like some of the friends I'd bring home occasionally, she'd always, kind of not turn up her nose, but regard with suspicion at first, but then if, being the host that I was as a kid, I could kind of like get her to see him a certain way. I think that's kind of what I did with the movie in terms of strategy. It was like, well, how can I get my mother to understand how these people are like safe in their own way and charming and individuals. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Mike?
I thought you were asking.
No, Mike. Let's have Mike have a shot at that.
How these people the thing is, Adam knew Guiseppe one way, and I knew Giuseppe through his films. I've been going to film festivals and I had a film zine, so I would talk to him online. And when Adam gave me his 26 hours, I watched all of it just because I was like, wow, the fuck is he doing all of this? And is it real? And it was just so fascinating to see that stuff. And so unfortunately, that means I was the worst person to edit it, because I was like, well, 12 hours, someone's going to watch this. Why would you watch this? What's wrong? So we've actually been going back and forth whether or not you should watch the film and then the documentary, but I think it actually is probably a little more fascinating. It might work either way.
Yeah, I think it could work either way, but I do think that the documentary is a good sort of way to ease yourself into a Giuseppe movie. I was saying before, I know Henry Rollins, who, for those of you who don't know him, he's an icon of the punk rock world and the spoken word world, and now he's just a sort of an icon of...
Intense dude.
What's that? Yeah, he's an intense guy. And I showed him a while back a couple of Giuseppe's movies, and he called me up and he said, and here's a guy who has seen some crazy stuff in his life. And he said to me, Adam, you can't just spring a movie like this on someone. You have to warn them first what to expect. He was very serious.
All right, how about you guys? You got any questions? Raise your hands.
All the way in the back.
There we
I
go.
want to say thanks for making this film and bringing Giuseppe and all of his filmmaking family into our lives. It's truly inspirational. So it's really heartfelt, man. Just thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you. Can I say who you are, Mark?
Oh, you guys all like
That's Mark Borchardt from American Movie. Wow. Thank you very much, Mark. Very important.
I did a scene with the dude in Cabin Fever 2 where they were telling me, oh, you're going to love this dude, man. You guys are so alike, man. You guys are going to get off and talk about everything. I swear to God, man, we sat in that van and did not say one fucking word to each other.
Sure.
I think there was a question on the aisle there. Yeah.
I guess, so first of all, I teach a bunch of filmmaking, and you could basically, even though this is crazy and whatever, there's like, if you were to define the paradigm of no filmmaking or the sense of no filmmaking, these guys pretty much follow almost every single one of them. So I think it's pretty great. It's kind of an inspiration for someone who wants to make a film and for the right reasons, which is not to make money, but that part of where he says, it makes me feel good and whatever. It's like these are the reasons why we should be making films, and hopefully they'll be successful. But I had a couple of questions. One is that it looks like the film was 2007, and if that's the case, what took so long to this documentary to show now? And then also, he looks like he's a pretty good guitar player. I'm not a guitar player, but like is he good?
There are a lot of layers. There's a lot of info here. I mean, of course, we saw in the beginning that his father was the rhythm guitar player for the Bee Gees, and he had his father was fascinating and almost acts as a narrator. I mean, he brings us into this world. His name is not Ed, by the way. It's Joey Murcia, and he played with the Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones and lots of Joe Walsh. Yeah. Toured with Joe Walsh. Yeah.
That's right.
Whether you're a mother, whether you're a brother, you're staying alive. That's true. So, and his offspring is Giuseppe, who's a great artist and a great musician in his own right. Like if you watch this a couple times, you'll understand that he's making all the music for these movies, and I think if he is an artist, which he is, and art is a type of play, Giuseppe, was really a kid, and he might be 30 here. I don't know how old he was at the time, but he's a kid at play. And no, this is not his next. This is not the way he's gonna make it big in the industry by making, as I said last time, Elephant Fuck or Dirty Drawers or whatever. And he would just slap titles on his movies willy-nilly, So yeah.
The quick answer to why it took so long is basically Adam was working a lot after he shot it. Gave me the tapes. I was trying to finish something else, ironically, about my uncle who lives in the trailer. And so then finally we actually got a grant from Rooftop Films, which is a really great place in New York City to do editing. It was supposed to be a web series, and I said it was going to be a web series. That's how I got.
But yes, it's true. The footage sat in a box for a really long time, just because I was making other films and I couldn't focus on it. And then Mike and I were talking about it, and I gave all the footage to him.
Right in front.
Okay, so I was around the factory days. Giuseppe was a lot nicer to his actors than Andy was. Okay, so I'm curious, have the other people than yourself, Miles, seen the film, what they think of it, and what are they doing now? What's his father's real name?
Joey Murcia or
Joey
Ed,
and Giuseppe, what are they doing now?
or just Ed.
Well, Giuseppe and Mary saw the movie, and they loved it, and Giuseppe said that it's the best documentary ever made. Ed has not seen it.
I mailed him a DVD and he said his player's broken.
The other cast members are difficult to track down because they have just wandered off into the night. So they have not seen it. I did track down Dongo, and he refused to come here to this festival to see it here. He doesn't really have any interest in seeing it. It's just not, not on his radar. It's a weird situation that way. It's not like they're in it because they want to be famous or take the excitement of being on a screen to some sort of heart. They really just don't care. And they're genuinely feeling that way.
Time for a couple more questions. Right there in the center.
They both seem like they have kind of illustrious career paths. So did they choose to live in a trailer and be homeless, or did they manage to win?
There was an aspect to the documentary that I was not allowed to delve into, which is the backstory with Giuseppe's mom and Ed's wife, and how they split and how they ended up being homeless. So I never really got that story. I know that whatever it was painful for them both, and they never wanted to talk about it. They never wanted it mentioned in the film. And in fact, Giuseppe was going to come to Cinevegas, where Garbanzo Gas showed, but when he found out that his mother was going to come to the festival, he didn't come. So whatever the real story is with that, nobody knows, other than Giuseppe and Ed.
The other side is, Ed did make some money with the Bee Gees, not a ton. He moved on then to Andy Gibb, who was an associated act with the Bee Gees and had big hits, and he got a piece of that. He had some money, in a house and whatnot, lost it in the divorce. They headed west, Grapes of Wrath or something, and started making money not through Ed's musical career, but through Giuseppe's. And Giuseppe has been in tons of mainstream movies. there was some like hoarding of money or some miserliness. They put their money, the acting money, away and lived in a trailer park to save money so that they wouldn't lose it once again like they lost the Bee Gees money. So.
Also, Ed, Joey, was always just a session guy. He never wrote anything. So he's on the recording of Grease. So if that gets bought, the main Grease song, then he will get like maybe $100 or something for performance, but not very much.
On the side there?
So I guess this is continuing the same thread, but did you get any sense that Giuseppe's experience working on bigger films, like how that informed his desire to go completely the other direction?
Well, he never was in it because he had a burning desire to be famous or to be an actor. He did it because his dad got him started in it when he was a kid. And as he evolved, his interests shifted to what you see. I mean, he wants to make these films. He's very, very obsessed about making his music, writing his books, writing his poetry, doing his paintings. You can see all his various types of art on his website, GiuseppeAndrews.net. You can buy all his movies there. You can buy all his music there. Everything.
His music's on Spotify.
Yeah. But he just completely lost interest in pursuing an acting career and wanting to be a successful actor. It just was just not something he was interested in at a certain point. For a long time he was doing both, but then he just stopped being interested in it.
The irony is, as you saw briefly, like he paid these guys every single film, every single time, like 40, 50, 60 films. He had them sign a release waiver every single, he has hundreds of Vietnam Ron signatures. And because I had to do this, because a very kind distributor named Cinelicious is actually buying this film to put it in movie theaters. I had to research it. I was just talking to the lawyer today. He actually went to the copyright office, Trailer Town. They own the copyright to all of their movies. They did all the paperwork, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
For a tiny, I mean, I still have to do it for this documentary. So
One thing
that
that
together in a certain sort of way.
One thing I'll say too is that because they are so used to having had worked on real movies, you can see sort of the phantom of real movie lingo and real movie sort of convention in these crazy movies. You know, they're talking about craft service, they're talking about turnaround time, they're talking about things that you hear on real movie sets, but working in, you know, bizarro world. It's just interesting to recognize all those tropes, you know.
All right. Well, thank you for taking us to Bizarro World. The best major movie. Please remember to vote for the audience award on your way out.